My last book didn't sell as many copies as I hoped it would. My last podcast stopped growing sooner than I hoped it would. The absolute last thing I wanted to do with all the grief in my heart surrounding my dad's decline due to Alzheimer's was release another book or start another podcast. Dreams that once felt beautiful to me now have become triggers of insecurity. It is hard for me to communicate how deeply intertwined my dad's work in ministry has felt with my own. Every perceived failure that I had felt like I was failing his memory. I have spent years in therapy trying to untangle my need to make him proud or finish what he started or to somehow live a life that redeems what it felt like he's losing. And I chronically feel like I come up short. And yet, despite my feelings and my increasing apathy, the Lord told me very clearly to cast my net to the other side. And what is odd is that I had just surrendered that part of me. I had just found peace in letting it all go. Maybe for you, it's trying to start a business after the last one destroyed your finances, or enrolling in school when your life is too chaotic to survive taking another test. Maybe it is going out on another date after the last relationship broke your heart, or trying to conceive, but the thought of another disappointment cracks your chest open. All of us have dreams that we once loved that now suffocate us beneath their weight. In John 21:3, Peter, after the crucifixion of Christ, goes back to what he knows, which is fishing. The text tells us that they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Verses 4-6 continue. When daybreak came, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not know it was Jesus. Friends, Jesus called to them. You don't have any fish, do you? No, they answered. Cast the net on the right side of the boat, he told them, and you'll find some. They had been out all night. They were grieving. All their hopes of what the Messiah would do had been crucified with Jesus, and yet somehow they managed to drop their net one more time. The catch was so massive that the text says in verse 6 that they were unable to haul it in. It is a scene reminiscent of Luke 5:6, where the weight of the catch actually rips the disciples' nets. Their boats even began to sink. God's blessings in our lives will often result in more work, in trying one more time, in gathering just enough strength for one last plunge into the sea, casting again, mending the nets, hauling the fish. All of this brought more work, not less. And John 21:7 says that when this happens, you will know it is the Lord. I don't know how long you've been fishing. I don't know how many nights you went to bed with an empty net. I don't know how many days or weeks or years you have begged God to move, and yet it feels as though you chronically come up short. This is where I was emotionally when I wrote, What If I'm Wrong? The book I told God I could not write, but somehow I did write it. Somehow I figured out how to cast my net on the other side. right when I had just gotten myself to a place where I didn't need the fish. And I was tired of the water, and I was certain I would be happier watching the waves without feeling my toes in them. If the Spirit is calling you, even when it's cold, you get back into the water because it is the Lord. Let me pray with you. Lord, we give you our lives and all of our days. Please guide us into your light. My name is Heather, and I'll see you next Friday night.